Hey everyone, Rick Albert with Lamerica Real Estate. Today we're going to talk about why the price per square foot model sucks, the big one. Let's get started. Okay, so you oftentimes hear investors, home buyers, home sellers, listing agents, everyone talk about the price per square foot model. Well, let's start off with what is that? The idea is you take the value of a property, divide it by the square footage of the home, and you have your price per square foot, right? So for example, you have a $1 million home at 2,000 square feet. Therefore, you're looking at $500 per square foot. The reason why a lot of investors, buyers, things like that, they look at this model is because they look at other homes in the neighborhood and compare it to that $500. So for example, let's say there's another home where the numbers work out to $675 a square foot. You might say, well, I'd rather buy this one because this one's cheaper, right? When you compare it, they're trying to compare apples to apples. There's a couple of issues wrong with this model. The first is, especially in Los Angeles, every property is different, right? So what if you're the nicest house on the block and everything else is trash, or like everything else is fixers, right? So the average price per square foot in that neighborhood might be $200 a square foot, but your house is way nicer and that's not being accounted for in this price per square foot. See, that's the first issue. Flip side is, you have a new construction home in a regular neighborhood. Those are two different buyers and they're willing to pay different premiums. You'll also notice where the larger the home in the same neighborhood, typically the smaller or the lower the price per square foot. So you might see a home going for $1.25 million, and it might be $2,200 or $2,300 a square foot, so the average price point would be less. The reason why you see that, and the real reason why this model is horrible, is because this $500 per square foot is for the total value of the property. We're talking the house plus the land. Because you can be in the same neighborhood and have different lot sizes. This model, just so you guys are aware, works if you're in a tract home community. All the homes are literally the same. Same lot, same square footage, same condition. So yes, if that sold for that, this would sell for this, that makes sense. But in Los Angeles, all these lots are different, right? Every house is different. 2-story, single-story, pool, no pool, right? This doesn't factor in a pool. This doesn't factor in an ADU. Doesn't factor in potential rental income, right? There's all these different things that it does not account for. And because it's house plus the land, the biggest kicker is when people start thinking, oh, if I do an addition, right? So you're probably thinking, oh, I'm gonna add an addition of 200 square feet, addition, right? At $500 a square foot, that should equate to $100,000 in value, but it only cost me $50,000 to do it. So I've instantly gained $50K. And you're probably thinking, I am the world's greatest investor. I know what I'm doing. Here's the problem, is you added 200 square feet to the house portion, but not to the land. And because you didn't add to the land, you didn't actually add the full $500 a square foot. Comment below if you don't quite get it. I'll be happy to explain it further. But in the meantime, you didn't actually, because you only did add it to the house, not to the land. So let's factor that in. So the cheapest I've been able to find land for sale at the time of this recording was about $400,000. But let's go ahead and say, it might be as much as $500,000. If you're talking about $1 million neighborhood, the land might be about $500,000, right? Because you probably wouldn't necessarily build in those neighborhoods, whole nother conversation. But let's say half of that was land. So then that means when you're adding to, you're subtracting this, so that takes you to $250 per square foot. That you're really adding in value. Value for the home, right? Because again, you're not adding land, so you can't account for the entire amount. So therefore, using this example, you're at $200, $250. That only adds value of $50,000. There, but if it costs you $50,000, you only gain $50,000. That means you just did dollar for dollar value. Dollar for dollar. So from the perspective of a flip, a development, this actually doesn't make sense. The numbers don't work because you have to factor in commissions, closing costs, rehab time, all of that. Now, personal use, that might be worth it. It might be. Now, when you do additions, there's a couple things to keep in mind, and we can talk about this in more in depth in another video, but it might be more than this if you're getting this price per square foot, right? So you're getting the value of the additional house size, but you're also adding a bedroom, right? So you might be getting the $50,000 in house, but then you might get an extra, $20,000 for adding another bedroom, for example. So now you're at $70K. Then it might make sense. It really depends. The best way to determine the value of a home is to take a look at what other homes are selling for in that neighborhood and basically kind of do an algorithm like that, right? Look for other 3-bed, 2-bath, 2,200 square feet, right? If you're adding 200 square feet, what are those homes selling for? And that really gives you the idea. But this whole model of the price per square foot and relying solely on that is a very poor way of doing it here in Los Angeles. And more importantly, if you're talking about doing additions, it may not be worth it, right? Because again, the numbers just don't work. Because again, and I'm going to repeat this over and over again because I really want everyone to understand that the price per square foot is a combination of the value of the house and the value of the land. And when you do additions, you're only adding to the house, not to the land. I hope this makes sense. If it doesn't, comment below, ask your questions. I'm here for you guys to answer. Also, don't forget to subscribe, like the video. Even if you don't like it, give it a thumbs down depending on where you're watching this. I get it, it's part of life. But I really want to hear the feedback because I'm hoping to do more videos like this to help you guys make better real estate decisions. Again, Rick Albert with L'America Real Estate. Thank you so much for your time, and I'll see you guys soon.